Welcome to the Scottish Rite Journal podcast, an audio presentation of the Scottish Rite Journal, brought to you by the Supreme Council of the Scottish Rite, Southern Jurisdiction, Mother Supreme Council of the World. This week's article is Santa Claus Not a Myth, a children's Christmas play from the Masonic New Age by Madeline Blumberg, House of the Temple intern, and comes from the November-December 2024 issue of the Scottish Rite Journal. In January of 1905, the New Age magazine, predecessor to the Scottish Rite Journal, published a play by the name of Santa Claus is Not a Myth. This charming piece provided the family of New Age readers with a relatable tale of childhood wonder and the magic of Christmastime traditions. Horace Varney, the author of this one-act production, gives life to the Thorntons, a family of 7, including the integral ages of childhood, with such characteristics as blossoming rational thought and wavering faith. If you're a Master Mason, check out the Master Craftsman Online College, the premier education platform from the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, Southern Jurisdiction. From Craft Lodge to Scottish Rite philosophy, visit www.mastercraftsmancollege.org for complete info and use promo code SRJ2024. That's SRJ2024 for 20% off any course. The play opens with the family gathered around Mrs. Thornton at the piano, all singing boisterous carols about Old Saint Nick. Once the merriment ceases, we find 10-year-old Robert lost in thought about Santa Claus. The twin girls, Maud and Agnes, about 12 years of age, reveal that Robert has expressed uncertainty about the legitimacy of Santa Claus. His reasoning centers around doubt planted by his friends at school, along with a lack of physical proof. His father advises that he, Santa Claus, is a better subject for dreams, and ushers Robert off to bed. Martha, the eldest Thornton daughter, joins her parents in putting the younger children to bed. She shares the overheard conversation between Maud and Agnes with Mrs. Thornton, who validates Robert's thoughts, opining, "Doubts can never harm the truth. Santa Claus will continue to live long after those who have doubted his reality have gone." The parents reconvene to prepare for Christmas Day. They share a sweet story about their youngest daughter, Grace, who prayed to God that Santa would bring her family a Christmas tree. Her blind faith in Santa and in a higher power contrast with Robert's uncertainty. Mr. and Mrs. Thornton continue setting up various holiday paraphernalia while further discussing Robert's concerns, concluding the matter had best be left to Santa Claus as they exit the scene to prepare their children's presents. Upon their leaving, Robert reappears. He sneaks over to the sofa with plans to discover the truth once and for all. Shortly thereafter, he finds himself drifting off to sleep with thoughts of doubt swirling in his head. A cheery voice sings carols off-screen before its owner, Santa Claus, enters the scene. His song resembles the ones the Thorntons gave voice to earlier, but with lyrics in first person detailing his actions. As his singing commences, he discovers Robert sleeping, whose scheme he immediately recognizes. The boy wakes abruptly and is shocked to find Santa Claus in front of him. Robert's initial anxiety quickly subsides as the two bond over their love of Christmas carols, resulting in an impromptu sing-along from the duo. Santa Claus gets to work unpacking presents. Upon seeing the beautiful gifts brought for his family, and after a request to shake his hand, Robert is forced to admit that Santa Claus is as real as any other person. The boy continues to impress Santa with his lyrical knowledge, to which jolly old Saint Nick states, "For a boy who had come to the conclusion that Santa Claus is a myth, you make a pretty good stand in his favor." Robert apologizes for doubting his existence and promises to share word of him going forward. He suggests one last song, the Santa Claus Lullaby, during which Santa details his exit as Robert drifts back to sleep. "Sleep on, little man," Father Christmas says. "I have troubled your dreams long enough, but only that you might know." Mrs. Thornton rushes into the room in her dressing gown and is confused to find her son on the sofa, singing Christmas carols in his sleep. She wakes him concernedly as the rest of the Thorntons file in, awoken by the commotion. Assessing her son, Mrs. Thornton is confused as to when he would have fallen asleep, as she and her husband were in and out of the room preparing for Christmas Day. Robert insists that Santa Claus was there with him and is undoubtedly real, despite his mother's assertion it was all a dream. Steadfast in his reinvigorated belief, the boy shares one of the carols he had sung with Santa. The whole family joins in as the curtains close on this lovely one-act play for young folks from more than a century ago. This story is made exceptionally charming through its ambiguity. Did Santa Claus visit Robert, or was this all just Robert's dream? According to Mrs. Thornton, it was merely a dream, yet she did not see Robert on the sofa while she and Mr. Thornton set up the presents. Not to mention, this scenario is exactly what Santa suggested would happen in the dream itself. Such unanswered questions allow for a tangible kind of magic to exist. The idea of whether or not seeing is necessary for believing, as it relates to a child's perception of Santa Claus, is a timeless theme, also explored in the classic 1897 New York Sun editorial, Yes, Virginia, There Is a Santa Claus, in which editor Francis Pharcellus Church responded to a letter by Virginia O'Hanlon, an 8-year-old girl, posing the question as to whether Santa Claus was real. Later examples include popular Christmas films such as Miracle on 34th Street, The Santa Claus, and The Polar Express. This age-old query can also be applied to spiritual faith, which the Apostle Paul refers to as the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Hebrews chapter 11, verse 1. At the time of its original publication in the New Age in 1905, Santa Claus Not a Myth would have been enjoyed by the whole family of Masonic readers, intended to assure children of their beliefs that Robert's experience, while encouraging parents to allow a bit of childhood magic back into their lives as well. Like and share this article, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. If you wish to comment, please leave one, and as a reminder, hit the notifications bell. Any accompanying photographs or citations for this article can be found in the corresponding print edition. The Scottish Rite Journal is published by the Supreme Council of the Scottish Rite, Southern Jurisdiction, Mother Supreme Council of the World. Mark Dreisenstock, 33rd degree, Managing Editor. I'm your host, Matt Bowers.